All right, everybody, it's Catch AIDS, and I'm back again. Now, if you are a death metal content creator, I've got some ideas for your channel that you can use. All right, you ready? Number one, what happened with Will Rahmer of Mortician in Poland? Now, this happened 20 years ago, and we don't know the entire story of what happened. I'm not sure what the public records requests are like in Poland. I could have thought back then, I thought, you know what, the entire truth of the situation is eventually going to come out. Now, at the time, Will said, only the people closest to me know what actually happened. And then he threatened the viewers of blabbermouth.net, a la Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. If you've ever seen that movie, they go to all the losers who badmouth them's houses and kick their asses. And Will said he was basically going to do the same thing. I don't think he actually went to anybody's houses and kicked anybody's ass, though. Would have been funny if he did. But anyhow, I'd like to know exactly what happened with Will Rahmer. Next, Pat OBrien. Again, as of now, 7 years have passed since that incident. Now, we had an interview in which Justin Horville was told by Al from Earache Records that Pat was under the influence of either meth or flakka, whatever they do in Florida. And he had some bikers and some girls over at his house, and I guess the bikers or whatever wanted to steal some of his stuff, and then he went bananas, got the flamethrower, that started doing all this crazy stuff, set his house on fire, and I guess the people who were going to do the bad things fled, and then Pat busted into the neighbor's house and then got tased. And trust me, I already asked. There is no body cam footage of this incident. Yeah, I made sure to ask. And remember, my first video on this channel was the resolution for that. I brought it up first. All right. Next, who shot Jeff Becerra? Now, there has been 40 years that has passed, almost not, well, 1989. So yeah, 30-something years have passed since Jeff Becerra was shot and paralyzed. Now, I remember reading in music magazines in the mid-90s, there were multiple different stories of what exactly happened. Some magazines said that, oh, he was a convenience store clerk and was shot by robbers. Another variation of it was he was shot in a drug deal gone bad. Now, according to Jeff himself, Jeff went to a convenience store. I guess he had to break a 50 or 100 for a pack of cigarettes or whatever. And then these two people robbed him outside the store, and each of them shot him with a different gun. Now, it might be a little bit difficult to find out who exactly did this. The bullets themselves are currently lodged within Jeff's body, so they can't be taken out and run with ballistics tests. And, there's no cameras or whatever back then. And whoever shot him, if you're going to shoot a random person for less than $50 or $100 back in the 80s, chances are both these guys are either dead or in jail right now. But I'm not sure why we couldn't get more of a police report or anything. We don't even have a description of the suspects. Were they black, white, Hispanic? Who knows? There's just too many unanswered questions about this shooting. I don't like unanswered questions, if you haven't already figured that out. All right, next, Malevolent Creation chocolate milk. Sometime in the MySpace era, Phil from Malevolent Creation was got on the internet and posted a story about how he shot some crackhead robber with his own gun at a convenience store while he was at the convenience store to buy chocolate milk. Later, it was revealed that this incident never happened, and the police said, yeah, we've had no reports of any self-defense shootings involving Phil Fasciana. I'm going to assume that Phil was under the influence of something while he posted this. Later on, he made some kind of a statement saying like, yeah, why is anybody getting upset about this? I'm going to band practice, and tried to sweep the whole incident under the rug. Now, many years have passed. maybe Phil himself can say, yeah, I was under the influence and I posted some crazy things on the internet. You know, ugh, God. So another thing I'd like to know is, why did Bret Hoffman leave for a third time? Now, Bret Hoffman left Malevolent Creation again for a third time before he died. Now, was this because of some other problems or was it because of health problems? But his death did not cause his exit from the band. He quit for a third time prior to his death. All right, next, Trey Azagthoth's 1991 arrest. If you watch the video in which Trey was arrested for drunk driving, you'll notice that in the end of the video, he tells the fat lady cop who arrested him, like, yeah, I got arrested in 1991 in Red Bank, New Jersey. But he doesn't say what the charge was. Now, I remember I was in, this is the year 2023. I'd just gotten done tying up some business in Baltimore, and I went to the beach in New Jersey, in Monmouth County, New Jersey, where Red Bank, New Jersey is. And I thought, oh, geez, I'm already here. I might as well just call the local police and ask if I can maybe get Trey's 1991 mugshot or his arrest report. And the cops were like, oh, that's too old. I'm like, well, what do you do with police reports and mugshots that are too old? You just throw them in the trash? Do you hit the delete button? Where do they go? Now, given the location at which he got arrested, I'm going to guess Trey was either hanging out with the members of Ripping Corpse and or his manager at the time, Gunter Ford, all of whom were based out of Red Bank, New Jersey at the time. Red Bank, New Jersey is a well-to-do beach town. I've been there a couple times in recent years. So, maybe, oh God, I doubt you can get a straight answer from Trey himself. Next, the dying fetus money situation. I'm not sure if this question was answered in the Justin Horville interview or not, but if you recall, in 2001, Jason Netherton quit, and it was not over money. It was over time he needed off so he could go to college and learn communist ideology. And his reason for quitting and the timeline match up. Now, it wasn't until afterward that Kevin Talley and Sparky Voiles quit the band over money. So remember, Jason quit first for a different reason, a few months in advance, and then Sparky and Kevin Talley quit, supposedly over money. At the time, I wrote this fake press release. I used to come home drunk and make fake press releases, and I was like, John embezzled money out of the dying fetus account so he could get penis enlargement surgery. And when the other members asked him where'd the money go out of the account, he said it was none of their business. And back then, I would do stuff like this all the time, and people wouldn't bother to check what was the truth or not. Pretty funny. Next, the Hoffman brothers. In the past 20 years since Eric and Brian Hoffman quit Deicide, what are they doing? And some of you jackasses are going to be like, they're busy with Eamon. But guess what? Eamon's done one album and 2 Florida shows in 20 years. That's not busy by anybody's stretch of the imagination. These guys also have a reputation for taking people's money to make guitars and then not fulfilling the order. So what have they been doing for the last 20 years? Do you just spend your adult life in a band and then decide, oh yeah, I just want to go to working at a factory or whatever? Maybe McDonald's. Who knows what those guys are doing nowadays? But I'd like to know. Eric Hoffman used to post all kinds of bizarre, childish things. He types like a 10-year-old. I remember when he would post on Blabbermouth in the comments section, and after Steve Ozheim's dad died, he's like, is Steve Ozheim's dad burning in hell? And you can tell with that childish style of writing that Eric would do. He had a very distinctive writing style, and you could tell it was him. So this definitely pissed off Steve really bad, and just kind of confirmed what he already knew, that he should have stuck with Glenn rather than the Hoffman brothers. And knowing what we know now, oh God, all the canceled tours and all that, we blamed that on Glenn at the time, not knowing that it was the Hoffmans, particularly Eric, who was the problem. Next, Robert Rusay. Oh, he's a golf instructor now. But that's the thing, if you're a golf instructor, wouldn't you have a bigger presence? Wouldn't your name be more Googleable? It's very tough to hide in the information age, and if he's a golf instructor, he'd have to be hiding way under the radar. If I lived in Arizona, maybe I could, stalk him or whatever, but yeah, if one was a golf instructor, and any successful one, you'd have to have a more Googleable presence. You'd have to have more of an online presence. Robert Rusay just had that one little blurb, and it's not anything recent. So this leads me to be a little bit doubtful as to how successful he may be in the golf world as an instructor. Next, where is Shawn Whitaker? Shawn Whitaker of Viral Load and all these other bands. I remember, oh God, like 15 years ago, I was friends with him on Facebook, and he would post all kinds of bizarre things while being under the influence of whatever. In fact, one day he was so hopped up on drugs or whatever, he decided to form a Christian death metal band. Now, last I heard, he had, his wife left him and he got a job at McDonald's, and he was excited about it. Let me tell you what it means when a man in his 40s is excited about his new job at McDonald's. It means he has hit rock bottom, and his first step toward redemption is a job at McDonald's. It's pretty bad. So I guess he owes a lot of people a lot of money, and he's just kind of hiding out. Next, who is Lividity Woman? I mentioned this on the Lividity video, in which I talked about going to their Show Your Tits live performance in Piqua in 1997, Piqua, Ohio, where they filmed recorded their first live album. We have no pictures of this Lividity Woman. We got no name, but I was there. I can assure you she was an attractive woman. From what everybody says, she was local within town. I've never seen her before, never seen her since. I would like to know who this woman was who got up on stage with Lividity and showed me and everybody else her beautiful body. Next, what the hell is going on with Alan West, formerly of Obituary? So he's been out of Obituary for over close to 20 years at this point. The last time he had any project that was mentioned on Metal Archives would have been South Wicked. That would have been like 2013. Now, I wrote to Alan in prison the first time when he got a bunch of DUIs. Then I wrote to him again after he had that, where he called the cops on himself for having a meth lab. No reply. Then I wrote to him a third time where he got all these petty theft convictions. No reply. So I don't know what the hell he's doing for a living, if he's doing anything for a living, but he definitely doesn't have the time to write back to me while he's in prison. He's got a bunch of, way more mugshots than I do, that's for sure. So what the hell's going on with Alan West? Next, why did Morbid Angel cancel their 2024 tour? Now, in 2023, because of Trey's bad condition and alcoholism and all that, I figured Morbid Angel was done. There's going to be no more Morbid Angel albums, no more tours. So when this 2024 tour was announced, I was like, all right, good. It's good to be wrong. I can't wait to see Morbid Angel on tour again. Only for them to pull the plug several days before the tour starts and replacing themselves with I Am Morbid. That was pretty weird, especially at the last minute. And Trey's response, Trey's excuse for that was, oh, we got to work on the new album. Nah, I can understand canceling a tour if a band is in its infancy and momentum means everything. But 40 something years into a band's career, timing and momentum of a new album aren't really that important. They can put off, they've already put off, recording this new album for many years. I find this excuse very hard to believe, and if he was actually working on a new album, it would likely be out now, which is October 2025. So I'm a little bit skeptical as far as Trey's reason for that. I was going to guess that maybe, he had problems with alcohol that prohibited him from getting on tour. Trey never had a reputation as being an alcoholic until the Kingdom's Disdain tour cycle, when people noticed some of his performances were a little bit sloppy. And then the ill-fated 2023 tour, where there's at least two separate days, one in Rochester and one somewhere else, where he's drunk on stage and drunk before the show. When I saw him during that tour, he did not, and this was 2 days after the tornado incident, he did not appear to be under the influence of anything. But given that the somber timing of the tour, 2 days after the tornado had upended one of their shows, that could have played a role. So he was likely sober when I saw him in Hobart, Indiana. Next, Steve Swanson. Now, I don't really care too much about 6 Feet Under. Sure, I liked the Haunted album, and I liked the EP, Live and Dead, and stuff like that. But then, like, Steve Swanson joined with Maximum Violence. By then, Barnes had, his voice had just deteriorated big time. And then Steve Swanson's in the band for well over a decade, and then one day, just replaced with no explanation why. And when bands, can't even say, oh yeah, we wish Steve the best of luck to his new endeavors, stuff like that just drives me bananas. It really pisses me off. Next, the deaths of Jared Anderson and Richard Brunelle. Jared Anderson of Internison, Hate Eternal, and live member of Morbid Angel, died in 2006 at the age of 30. I thought he died in Ohio. If that was the case, I would have been able to get his coroner report. But guess what? He just died on the other side of the river in Kentucky. Oh, you know what that means? You're going to want to subscribe, because in 50 years since his death, then I'll be able to get it. So in 2056, I'll be able to post his cause of death. And the same thing for Richard Brunelle. When he died, nothing to see here. What business is it how anybody dies? When somebody wants to sweep a cause of death under the rug, it's either overdose or the S word that you can't say on YouTube. That's what it is. So I'm going to guess he was loading up his crack pipe and probably had some fentanyl in it. As far as Jared Anderson goes, who knows? But I only know of one person who was an addict who got clean and then died at a relatively young age clean. And I know because I got the coroner report. So you're going to have to wait a while, but I will post the outcome of that. Next, the Dallas Toler Wade confrontation. Now, Dallas was touring with Nile, and then he said he got into a confrontation with another band member or crew member from some other band on the Summer Slaughter tour in 2016, 2017, wherever it was, and it led him to quit Nile. And then he went back to doing whatever he does for a living. Narcotic Wasteland, I love that band, but Narcotic Wasteland is not a money-making band. So since then, we haven't got an answer as to who was this guy that Dallas got into the confrontation with. Confrontation it's a media code word. It's a code word for attack. Instead of saying attack now, you got to say confrontation or altercation or struggle or tussle. And this implies mutual culpability rather than a one-sided attack. So he got into a fight or something with somebody that led him to question, like, why am I doing this? All right, Mohammed from Necrophagist. This is kind of like another Bob Rusay situation. It's hard for somebody to just fall off the face of the earth in this day and age. You just got to hide within your four walls and change how you look in order for all these fans not to know who you are or where you are. So what's going on with Necrophagist, whatever. All right, next. This is not death metal, but it's still worth noting. All right, I don't care really about Anthrax at all, but Dan Nelson, allegedly, there were rumors that he was fired for taking a drunken shit on bass player Frank Bello while he slept. I don't know if this is true or not. I sure hope it is. I hope there's video of it. And you would think, like, since 2010 or whenever this happened, the truth had come out. 15 years at least had passed. We got no idea why the hell Dan Nelson was fired, but you can see numerous other articles in which he was a drunken asshole and not a very nice guy. Next, El Duce's death. According to what Mentor's bass player Dr. Heathen Scum told me, he got his coroner report at the time, and El Duce was decapitated by the train and all this other stuff, but we still don't know the exact circumstances that led to his death. I'm not entirely sure that this whole Allen Wrench thing is true. I think he's just kind of milking this weird publicity or whatever. Yeah, I have no idea. But one thing's for sure, Al Jorgensen made a book saying that, like, El Duce did the Sieg Heil while the train was about to hit him and all this stuff. Al Jorgensen has lived a crazy life, and I'm not sure why he would feel the need to lie about anything when he's got enough true stories that could make several books. I read pieces of Al Jorgensen's book, and especially the story about, like, him and the guys in Ministry flipping Slayer's trailer over the side of a cliff with them inside it. Yeah, I don't believe for a second that actually happened. Al Jorgensen is a BS artist. Next, Buddha from Blood for Blood. Blood for Blood is a hardcore band from Boston, Massachusetts, and their frontman Eric Medina got kicked out. For what? Well, according to allegations, he graped or abused some underage girl at a barbecue. And in multiple versions of the accounts, the girl was 12, 13, 16, 17. Nobody can get a straight answer as far as the age goes. And some just say, oh, he kissed her to, there was a grape going on and he was arrested and he's in prison now. And nobody can get the story straight as far as what actually happened. Now, if you were to Google Eric Medina, there is an Eric Medina who is a mail carrier in Boston. But again, you would think that if he was a mail carrier in Boston, people would know him, people would take pictures of him. There's no arrest records or mugshots, court case for an Eric Medina over this incident. So if something actually bad happened, chances are there would have been an arrest. But nobody can seem to get the story straight. So if nobody can get a straight story and there's no record of an arrest, that leads me to believe that whatever did happen may have been inappropriate, but it wasn't that bad. It wasn't enough to warrant an arrest. So there you have it. If you're a death metal content creator, do these ideas because I'm too lazy to give them full attention.